For 1,000 years, Rome stood as an immutable colossus, its legions enforcing order across an empire vast beyond imagination. Its very name synonymous with power and dominion. Yet, beneath its gilded facade lay a labyrinth of shadows, a brutal, unforgiving world where absolute power was wielded. But life itself was often perilously cheap. This was the world of the Roman empresses. Figures frequently relegated to mere historical footnotes, yet often wielding immense, unspoken influence within the very heart of the empire. Their existence presented a stark, often terrifying paradox. Wives of emperors, mothers of heirs, they held titles of unparalleled prestige, yet lived daily on a razor's edge. From the moment they ascended to the imperial court, these women faced an unrelenting gauntlet of plots, betrayals, and ruthless, ever-present ambition. Every whispered rumor, every strategic alliance, every child born or tragically lost, possessed the power to either seal their fate or secure their dynasty's fragile future. Ancient historical records, though often meticulously compiled, frequently bear the distinct bias of their male authors, yet still illuminate a court drenched in intrigue and lethal politics. While emperors engaged in epic military campaigns on distant, blood-soaked borders, the empresses fought a different, equally perilous war. A relentless, unseen struggle within the palace walls. Their personal survival, far from being a mere domestic concern, was often inextricably linked to the political stability and even the very continuity of the vast Roman Empire. Across a staggering millennium, from the foundational era of Augustus to the final desperate fall of Constantinople, the essential game remained the same, only the players changed. How then did these remarkable women not merely endure, but often thrive in an environment where a single misstep could lead to swift exile, public disgrace, or even brutal execution? Through sheer cunning, undeniable charisma, strategically forged marriages, and sometimes outright, calculated ruthlessness, they carved out spheres of influence unseen by many chroniclers. Our in-depth expert analysis will delve beyond mere conjecture, revealing the audacious risks and ingenious maneuvers these formidable women skillfully employed to secure their place. This is not simply a historical chronicle of powerful queens, but a cinematic exploration of strategic genius operating under truly unimaginable and constant pressure. We will unearth their hidden stories, meticulously dissect their complex survival strategies, and illuminate the forgotten power brokers who shaped Rome from its shadowed throne. Join us as we step into the perilous heart of Rome to definitively answer: how did its empresses truly survive a millennium of lethal palace intrigue? The very fabric of the Roman Empire was woven with threads of ambition, treachery, and an insatiable hunger for power. Its throne was not merely a seat of governance, but a perilous crucible, forging rulers in the brutal fires of relentless political struggle. Within this unforgiving system, the empress, seemingly at the apex of influence, found herself confined within an imperial cage. She was perpetually vulnerable, navigating a world where alliances shifted like desert sands and betrayal lurked behind every silken curtain. To truly grasp the monumental challenge of survival these women faced, we must first descend into the abyss of Roman imperial politics. The position of emperor itself was rarely secured through peaceful succession or democratic mandate, but often through force. Legitimacy was a fragile construct, frequently established and maintained by the legions, the Praetorian Guard, or the sheer terror of imperial will. This environment cultivated an atmosphere where power was absolute, yet constantly contested, making every reign a high-stakes gamble. The shadow of assassination hung heavy over the entire imperial household, a perpetual and ever-present threat. Historical records reveal a stark reality. More emperors died by violence than by natural causes during significant periods of the empire. Their deaths were often orchestrated by rivals, disgruntled senators, or even their own ambitious family members, seeking the ultimate prize. This pervasive culture of intrigue permeated every level of the court, establishing a dangerous precedent for all who resided within its walls. For an empress, her precarious status was compounded by her gender in a deeply patriarchal society. Though often wielding immense informal influence, she possessed no inherent constitutional power or legal standing independent of her husband. Her authority was derived solely from her connection to the emperor, making her fortunes inextricably linked to his survival and favor. Yet, her proximity to power made her a vital pawn, or even a direct target, in the deadly game of dynastic succession. The Roman court was a viper's nest of competing factions, each vying for imperial patronage and control over the vast resources of the state. Senators, powerful generals, and wealthy aristocratic families constantly maneuvered for advantage, forming shifting alliances. An empress could become a target if her family's influence grew too strong, or if she was perceived as an obstacle to another faction's ambitions. The struggle for heirs was particularly brutal, transforming the imperial family into a battleground of biological and political warfare. Expert analysis confirms that securing the succession was paramount, driving many empresses to extreme measures to protect their sons. The birth of a son could elevate an empress's status, but it also made her and her child targets for those whose own dynastic hopes were dashed. Failed pregnancies or the inability to produce a male heir could likewise spell disaster, leading to repudiation or worse. Furthermore, the Praetorian Guard, ostensibly the emperor's personal bodyguards, frequently acted as kingmakers or destroyers of emperors. Their loyalty was bought, not given, and their swords often decided who lived and who died within the imperial palace. An empress had to navigate this volatile force, sometimes cultivating their support, other times fearing their mercenary power. The very architecture of the Roman palace, with its labyrinthine corridors and hidden chambers, facilitated clandestine plots. Banquets became venues for poison, private meetings disguised conspiratorial whispers, and secluded gardens hid secret rendezvous. The threat of poison was a constant companion, its subtle, undetectable effects making it a favored tool of assassins. Suspicion was the default mode, transforming every servant, every dish, every unguarded moment into a potential source of peril. Socially, Roman women were expected to embody virtues of modesty, chastity, and obedience, remaining largely in the domestic sphere. An empress, however, was thrust onto the public stage, her every action scrutinized, her influence often exceeding traditional bounds. This contradiction created a unique tension, where her visible power could be interpreted as unseemly ambition or dangerous meddling. Such perceptions could be weaponized by enemies, who would spread rumors of infidelity, witchcraft, or political subversion. The notorious Roman law of maiestas, or treason, was a flexible weapon, easily twisted to prosecute any perceived threat to the emperor. Accusations of maiestas could lead to immediate arrest, swift condemnation, and execution, often without due process. An empress, even with her immense informal power, was not immune to this legal guillotine, facing the same arbitrary justice as any citizen. Exile, the stripping of property, and even forced suicide were common fates for those who fell out of imperial favor. To survive this brutal environment required not only shrewd political acumen, but also extraordinary courage and an iron will. It demanded a master's grasp of human psychology, an uncanny ability to read intentions, and a talent for strategic manipulation. These women operated within an imperial cage, where every relationship was transactional, and every conversation a potential test. They learned to forge alliances, to subtly influence policy, and to defend their positions with a tenacity born of desperation. Their existence was a continuous high-wire act, balancing influence with vulnerability, power with peril. The foundation of their extraordinary resilience was laid in this world, forged in blood, betrayal, and unyielding ambition. It is through understanding this brutal context that we can truly appreciate the epic struggle of the Roman empresses. Yet, the relentless tide of history, ever flowing, carries us deeper into the heart of early Roman power, to an era where the foundations of imperial survival were forged in fire and cunning. Here, amidst the gilded cages of the Palatine, women were not merely ornaments. They became architects of their own fate, navigating a political landscape more treacherous than any battlefield, where a single misstep meant oblivion. This was the dawn of empresses as true strategic players. Their stories are not just tales of survival, but masterclasses in political strategy, demanding the resilience of a general and the foresight of a seasoned diplomat. They truly were the early empire's hidden engineers. Our first glimpse into this intricate world reveals Livia Drusilla, Empress to Augustus, a name echoing with both respect and dark whispers across the centuries. Her journey to power was anything but straightforward. She entered the imperial family through a politically charged marriage to Augustus, a man whose ambition would reshape Rome, but whose family life remained a volatile battleground. Livia faced immense opposition. The traditional Roman aristocracy, fiercely protective of their prerogatives, viewed any woman wielding influence with deep suspicion, seeing her as an unwelcome disruption to the established order. Livia understood this danger. She knew survival and the ascension of her own lineage depended on meticulously securing her place within this treacherous system, a task requiring extraordinary strategic acumen. Her initial strategy was disarmingly simple. Publicly, Livia cultivated an image of the ideal Roman matron, chaste, devoted, and supportive of her emperor, projecting an aura of impeccable virtue that disarmed her critics. But behind this facade, a sharper mind was at work. She meticulously built a network of personal alliances, cultivating relationships with key senators, equestrians, and military figures, securing loyalties that proved invaluable in times of crisis. These connections were her armor. Historical records suggest Livia became a master of subtle manipulation, influencing imperial policy and appointments through carefully chosen words, whispered advice, and an astute understanding of human nature. Her touch was imperceptible, yet potent. Expert analysis of the Julio-Claudian court often points to her ruthlessness, a quality perhaps necessary for survival. Rivals, particularly those who threatened her son's path to succession, often met untimely ends. The mysterious deaths of several potential heirs to Augustus, conveniently clearing the way for Livia's son Tiberius, have long fueled speculation, revealing a pattern of strategic elimination. Few questioned her publicly. Military strategists recognized the precision in these maneuvers. Not random acts, but calculated strikes designed to achieve a specific, long-term objective. Livia played the long game with unparalleled patience. She weathered public condemnation and private suspicions, maintaining her composure and unwavering devotion to Augustus, a testament to her iron will and strategic discipline. Her resolve was absolute. Livia's enduring legacy was to establish the precedent of an empress as a powerful, autonomous political force, forever altering the dynamics of the imperial court and setting the stage for those who followed. Yet, her methods, while effective, were largely covert. Future empresses would wield their power with far less subtlety, escalating the game of palace intrigue to unprecedented levels of drama and audacity. Then came Agrippina the Younger, a name that resonates with raw ambition, an empress who would not merely influence, but overtly challenge the male-dominated power structures of Rome. She was born into power. A direct descendant of Augustus himself, Agrippina learned the brutal realities of court politics and dynastic struggle from her earliest days. A harsh education in survival and ambition within the imperial family. Her early life was marked by exile, political purges, and the loss of family members, hardening her spirit and instilling an unshakable determination to never again be a victim of circumstance. She would command. Agrippina's singular burning ambition was not just to survive, but to rule through her son, Nero, installing him on the throne and wielding the true power of the empire from behind a veiled hand. She strategically married Emperor Claudius, a move that placed her at the very heart of the imperial family, allowing her to leverage her lineage and political acumen to full effect. Her ascent was meteoric. Agrippina systematically eliminated rivals to her influence, including those who stood in Nero's path to succession, demonstrating a cold, calculating resolve that mirrored Livia's, but with far less discretion. Her alliances were forged with a keen eye for power, particularly within the Praetorian Guard, whose loyalty she cultivated, ensuring a formidable military backing for her political machinations. Their support was crucial. Agrippina's approach often involved direct action. She demanded and received the rare, unprecedented title of Augusta, a radical move that formally recognized her immense influence and political standing. She even sat beside Claudius during imperial councils, a brazen act that shattered centuries of Roman tradition, and openly displayed her direct participation in governance. Rome had never seen such a display. This overt wielding of power shocked Rome, but it also cemented Agrippina's authority, proving to any who doubted that she was a force to be reckoned with, a queen in all but name. Her audacity was legendary. She further asserted her prominence by commissioning her own statue, an act of self-aggrandizement previously reserved for emperors, a bold declaration of her imperial might and self-belief. No one could ignore her. Her strategic vision was clear: to secure Nero's succession at all costs, and then to govern the empire herself, through him, ensuring her lasting influence over Rome's destiny. She aimed for ultimate control. But even Agrippina's formidable cunning had its limits. The very son she elevated, Nero, eventually turned against her, a tragic end to an epic struggle for power. The imperial game consumed even its masters. Her story, despite its brutal conclusion, stands as a testament to an empress's capacity for strategic brilliance, showcasing the pinnacle of an imperial woman's ability to dominate and direct the course of an empire. These early empresses, Livia and Agrippina, through their diverse yet equally formidable strategies, laid the blueprint for survival in an empire perpetually shrouded in shadows and intrigue, setting a dangerous precedent. Their lives were not merely chronicles of domesticity, but compelling narratives of strategic genius, shaping the very definition of imperial power and demonstrating the extraordinary resilience of the human will. Beneath the imperial purple, life for a Roman empress was a precarious dance on a razor's edge. Each sunrise brought not just new duties, but fresh conspiracies lurking in the opulent halls. The grandeur of the palace masked a chilling reality. Every servant, every senator, even family members could be a conduit for ambition or a vessel for a fatal plot. The threat of overt assassination was a daily shadow, a dagger in the dark, a poisoned cup presented with a deferential bow. No one was truly safe within the gilded cage. Beyond the physical danger lay a more insidious enemy, the relentless campaign of character assassination, designed to destroy an empress's reputation and legitimacy. As historical records meticulously reveal, the court was a theater of whispers, where truth was malleable and reputation could be shattered with a single, well-placed rumor. Livia Drusilla, Augusta and wife of Augustus, became a legendary figure whose shadow stretched across decades of imperial power. Her perceived ruthlessness was a potent deterrent. Ancient sources, though often biased, hint at her extraordinary capacity for survival, with whispers of selective elimination, ensuring her family's dominance. The very air of Rome was thick with suspicion, and Livia's masterful political maneuvering was a testament to navigating these deadly currents. She controlled narratives, yet some empresses fell victim to this unseen warfare, their lives unraveling amidst carefully orchestrated public scandals and accusations. Empress Messalina, Claudius's third wife, epitomized the dangers of courtly excess, combined with ruthless political maneuvering by her enemies. Her perceived promiscuity and scandalous behavior were amplified, weaponized by political rivals seeking her downfall. These character assassinations weren't merely gossip. They were strategic attacks on power, designed to erode trust and justify future drastic actions. The historian Tacitus, a keen observer of court intrigue, described how such psychological warfare could be more devastating than any physical assault. But not all empresses were passive victims. Many learned to wield ruthlessness as their own shield and sword, turning the court's deadly games to their advantage. Agrippina the Younger, Nero's mother, provides a stark example of an empress who not only survived but thrived by eliminating adversaries. She meticulously orchestrated her rise, securing her son's path to the throne through a series of calculated and often brutal political maneuvers. Rivals were systematically neutralized, whether through public disgrace, exile, or the more permanent silence of death. Her ambition knew few bounds. Her iron will and strategic brilliance allowed her to initially dominate the Roman political landscape, though ultimately it would not save her from her own son. Centuries later, the Byzantine Empress Theodora would rise from obscurity to become one of history's most formidable and cunning female rulers. She faced opposition from every quarter, her humble origins and unconventional past fueling aristocratic contempt and political sabotage. Theodora met these challenges head-on, her intelligence and unwavering resolve proving more potent than any inherited status. She commanded respect and fear. During the Nika riots, when her husband Justinian nearly fled Constantinople, Theodora delivered a speech that saved his throne and their empire. Her words, "Purple makes a fine shroud," famously declared her refusal to retreat, inspiring a brutal but decisive counterattack. This was not merely rhetoric. It was a demonstration of a leader capable of making the most agonizing decisions for the survival of the state. The subsequent massacre of the rioters, a calculated act of terror, cemented her and Justinian's power, eliminating a profound internal threat. Theodora also established a sophisticated network of informants and spies, crucial for understanding and preempting plots against the imperial couple. This masterful use of counterintelligence, an early form of state security, allowed them to maintain control in a court perpetually seething with treachery. These empresses, in their various eras, proved that survival required not just cunning, but an intimate understanding of power's brutal calculus. Their sagas serve as a powerful testament to human resilience and strategic genius, etched into the formidable narrative of the Roman Empire. They carved their legacies not merely as consorts, but as architects of power, navigating 1,000 years of lethal intrigue with audacious courage. The whispers of power were not always confined to the Senate or the battlefield. From behind the imperial veil, empresses wielded a different kind of influence, often more insidious, yet undeniably effective. In a world rigidly defined by male authority and martial prowess, these women were expected to be demure, their roles largely ceremonial. Yet, many refused such limitations. They understood that the emperor's ear, the nursery, and the imperial household itself could be transformed into strategic battlegrounds. This was their arena. Their proximity to the ultimate authority granted them access unmatched by any other political player, save for the most trusted advisors. It was a potent, often overlooked advantage. Through intimate counsel and subtle persuasion, they could bend the emperor's will, shaping policy, and even influencing the succession from the shadows. This was the empress's will. Consider the formidable Livia Drusilla, consort of Augustus, a master of this invisible hand strategy for over 5 decades. Her name became synonymous with cunning. Historical records confirm her extensive network of personal clients and dependents, carefully cultivated sources of intelligence and loyalty within the imperial machinery. She famously employed her private conversations with Augustus, patiently chipping away at his initial decisions until they aligned with her long-term dynastic ambitions. Expert analysis reveals Livia's masterful manipulation, ensuring the eventual elevation of her son, Tiberius, to the purple, a move of unparalleled political genius. Beyond the intimate sphere, empresses understood the crucial importance of public image, meticulously crafting personas that garnered popular support and legitimacy. They presented themselves as epitomes of Roman virtue, pious, chaste, and devoted to family. Yet beneath this veneer lay an iron will and sharp political mind. Empress Plotina, Trajan's wife, exemplified this, cultivating an image of dignified humility and intellectual gravitas, winning over both the public and the army. Her unwavering support for Hadrian's adoption and subsequent succession proved decisive, skillfully navigating the treacherous political currents after Trajan's sudden death. Plotina's public pronouncements and letters, carefully disseminated, established a narrative of imperial continuity, solidifying Hadrian's controversial claim. Familial ties, especially maternal influence, offered another formidable weapon in their arsenal, often imbued with an almost sacred authority within Roman society. Saint Helena, mother of Constantine the Great, transformed her religious piety into political power, her legendary pilgrimage to the Holy Land bolstering Christian legitimacy. Her devotion elevated her son's standing, associating his reign with divine favor and laying crucial groundwork for the empire's eventual embrace of Christianity. Then there was Galla Placidia, a woman who reigned as regent in the tumultuous West, a direct participant in the brutal game of imperial survival. She navigated a crumbling empire, besieged by barbarian incursions, demonstrating a strategic acumen rarely seen in her male counterparts. Placidia engaged directly in high-stakes diplomacy with Visigothic kings, brokering peace treaties and even marrying their leaders to secure her dynasty. Her ability to maintain a semblance of Roman authority through sheer political will and cunning alliance building for her young son was truly extraordinary. Strategic marriages were not merely political necessities, but often the empress's carefully orchestrated gambits to secure her family's future and influence. Empress Eudoxia, wife of Theodosius II, arranged marriages for her daughters that cemented the imperial line, extending its reach across the eastern and western courts. These carefully selected unions ensured the continued prominence of her own lineage, skillfully intertwining family fate with the destiny of the Roman Empire. Furthermore, control over imperial wealth and patronage allowed empresses to build powerful networks of loyalty, rewarding allies and punishing rivals with imperial largesse. They influenced appointments, funded public works, and distributed charity, cementing their position as indispensable figures in the imperial power structure. But perhaps no empress embodies this fierce will to power and survival more profoundly than Theodora, the formidable co-ruler with Justinian in the Byzantine East. From humble origins, she ascended to the throne, not merely surviving, but fundamentally shaping imperial law, particularly advocating for women's rights and prostitutes. Her most legendary moment came during the Nika riots, when facing a collapsing government and an emperor ready to flee, her defiant courage saved the throne. "The purple makes a fine shroud," she famously declared, inspiring Justinian to stand and crush the rebellion, a testament to her unyielding will and strategic foresight. These women were far more than consorts. They were strategic thinkers, political operators, and often the unacknowledged architects of Roman imperial policy. They defied the patriarchal norms of their age, proving that a woman's will, when forged in the fires of ambition and intellect, could reshape an empire. The survival of Rome's empresses amidst 1,000 years of lethal intrigue was not merely a tale of personal resilience, it was a profound historical force. Their struggles and triumphs forged the very fabric of the empire, leaving an indelible, often underestimated, mark on its destiny. These formidable women, navigating a world designed to confine them, transformed the Roman court into a complex arena where their influence reshaped political realities. Their legacy echoes through the centuries, a testament to unyielding fortitude. They stood as silent architects of continuity, frequently averting catastrophic power vacuums that threatened to shatter the fragile stability of a vast empire. Without them, the imperial tapestry might have unraveled far sooner. Their presence, at times fiercely contested, often provided the crucial legitimacy needed during periods of weak or infant emperors, acting as indispensable regents and protectors of the throne. This was no small feat in a society steeped in patriarchal tradition. The profound impact on imperial stability cannot be overstated. When male rulers faltered, these empresses often stepped into the breach, their iron will steering the ship of state through tempestuous waters. Historical records, upon closer inspection, reveal how they strategically manipulated alliances, quelled rebellions, and even influenced military appointments from behind the gilded scenes of the palace. Their strategic prowess was undeniable. Through their shrewd political acumen and sometimes ruthless pragmatism, they averted numerous crises that could have plunged Rome into prolonged civil war, securing a fragile peace through their authority. They were true political strategists. They often provided the necessary backbone for a dynasty, serving as the link between generations, ensuring that the imperial lineage endured even when direct male heirs were lacking or unfit to rule. Their primary role in securing dynastic continuity manifested through careful marriage alliances and, most importantly, the meticulous rearing and protection of their sons, the future emperors of Rome. This was a brutal game of thrones. Many empresses demonstrated an unparalleled commitment to safeguarding their children's succession, often employing a blend of charm, cunning, and decisive action against any perceived threats. Their maternal instincts were intertwined with imperial ambition. This often meant guiding young, inexperienced rulers through the treacherous waters of Roman politics, effectively serving as co-regents and providing a steadying hand until their sons could command fully. The records illustrate instances where empresses ruthlessly eliminated rivals, both within the family and from external factions, to ensure their offspring's ascendance and unchallenged hold on power. They were guardians of the bloodline. Their actions carved out a space for women in Roman public life previously thought impossible, gradually eroding the rigid societal boundaries that sought to relegate them to the domestic sphere. The evolving role of women in Roman society was undeniably influenced by the empresses. They became visible figures of authority, their images on coins and statues proclaiming their power to all. They shattered the illusion that women were incapable of political thought or executive action, inspiring future generations and subtly shifting the very expectations placed upon Roman noblewomen. Their public appearances, their patronage of religious institutions, and their involvement in charitable works created new precedents for female leadership and influence within the rigid Roman system. This was not an overnight revolution, but a slow, persistent erosion of established norms, leaving an undeniable, transformative mark on Rome's social and cultural landscape over centuries. The empress's indelible mark on Rome's long-term trajectory is vast, extending far beyond the immediate political machinations of the court. Their influence permeated imperial culture and administration. Through their patronage, empresses often funded ambitious building projects, commissioning temples, baths, and forums that not only beautified Rome, but also served as powerful symbols of imperial might and divine favor. They shaped the very visual landscape and cultural identity of the empire, their tastes and preferences leaving a tangible legacy for centuries to come. Reflecting their individual contributions, many empresses played a pivotal role in the religious transformations of the empire, particularly during the critical transition to Christianity, becoming influential patrons and staunch advocates of the new faith. Their devotion and public support significantly contributed to the Christianization of the Roman world, lending legitimacy and imperial endorsement to a religion that was once persecuted. This profoundly influenced the empire's eventual religious direction, laying foundations for Byzantium's distinct Christian identity and forever altering the spiritual heritage of Western civilization. Behind the scenes, their council often shaped administrative policies, influencing decisions on taxation, legal reforms, and provincial governance, although male historians frequently overlook these contributions. Their intimate access to the emperor allowed them to advocate for various causes, secure appointments for allies, and influence decrees that reverberated through the vast Roman administration. The cumulative effect of their unwavering resolve and political genius contributed significantly to Rome's ability to withstand barbarian incursions and internal strife for a millennium. Their story is not simply one of personal survival, but of active, conscious shaping of an empire's destiny, a narrative of resilience and profound impact. They were architects, not just witnesses. Rome, in its grandeur and its decline, was forged not solely by the legions and its emperors, but also by the often unseen, yet undeniable fortitude of its empresses. They were the silent steel within the velvet glove, the unwavering force that ensured the Roman spirit, in various forms, persisted against impossible odds. Their narratives provide a vital, often dramatic, counter-perspective to the male-dominated historical accounts, revealing a more nuanced and complex picture of imperial power. We see that ultimate power in Rome, while nominally held by men, was frequently tempered, directed, and even preserved by the remarkable women who navigated its lethal corridors. Their legacy is a powerful testament to feminine strength, intellectual prowess, and sheer willpower, echoing through a millennium of history and beyond, inspiring awe and respect. This is the true, epic story of how empresses survived, not just to live, but to redefine an empire, leaving a legacy that resonates with us even today. From the shadows of imperial courts, Roman empresses emerged not merely as wives, but as formidable forces, embodying extraordinary resilience against relentless palace intrigue. Their strategic genius, often subtle yet decisive, navigated treacherous political landscapes, shaping destinies and averting countless crises within the empire. Through shrewd alliances, cunning manipulation, and unwavering resolve, these matriarchs undeniably played a pivotal role in Rome's thousand-year survival. Historical records, when meticulously re-examined, reveal their hidden power, a testament to their capacity to influence policy and steer imperial succession. Their unique contributions, from diplomatic endeavors to the patronage of crucial political factions, were indispensable to the intricate fabric of Roman governance. We must thus redefine our understanding of power in antiquity, recognizing these women as active agents, not passive figures in history's grand narrative. They were the unyielding backbone, the strategic minds often behind the throne, whose sacrifices and brilliance preserved the Roman state against all odds. Their stories demand our deeper appreciation, revealing a layer of sophisticated political engagement previously overshadowed by their male counterparts. Join us as we continue to unearth more cinematic history, delving into the epic struggles and inspiring figures that forged our world. Subscribe to Echoes of Antiquity for more immersive journeys through the triumphs and trials of civilization's most compelling sagas.